Hey folks, this is another episode of the 4099 podcast with your hosts Dima and
I'm Nick.
and Nick has something shiny and silver looking in his hand that
I have this archaic bottle opener. As is customary with the 49.9, I drink while we talk. This is a little bit earlier than normal for drinking hours. Like I don't usually have liquid lunch, but that'll work, you know. I get done with this, I'm gonna go to the gym, and hopefully this doesn't influence my workout.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
But all right, let's go ahead and get into it. Today on the line, we're going to continue our international talks about government and politics and opinions with our friends from Sweden. We have my longtime family friend, Lucy. Lucy, go ahead and say hey.
Hey.
And then we have her husband, Mr. Johnny. I want to make sure I get this name right. Bekkestad?
That's perfect, man.
Johnny Bekkestad. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this bad boy open if I can. I don't know how to use these old school ones.
I wish I knew you were drinking.
I am drinking this Scotch barrel aged like dark stout thing.
All right then.
I should have given you the heads up. This is a drinking show. Oh man.
Oh, okay. Well, it's 5 o'clock over here, so.
I'm just gonna use this part.
That part will work.
Maybe, I don't know. Oh man, complications.
Wait.
No, honey, you have to use the pointy end. There you go. See, that's my old can opener there.
There he goes. Wait, you almost got it.
I'm gonna get comments in the messages about this one.
Yeah, for the listeners, Nick was he looked like he was opening the
cheers, boys.
A bottle of beer for the first time. That was nice.
I remember my first beer. All right. So to kind of like jump into the topic, what is the general like what is the type of government that you guys have in Sweden? Is it comparable to that of the U.S., where it's like a more of a diplomatic process? You have like multiple branches of government, or is it not like that at all?
Well, so there's two parts. So first of all, I mean, prior to 19 something, it used to be controlled by the royal family completely. And then they introduced the current government, in which we have a parliament, and we have a prime minister, and of course like democracy, where we have elections every 4 years.
Okay.
So main difference right now between the US and Sweden would be the fact that we do not only have two parties, we have 8 parties. We have we don't have a limit to how long a prime minister can sit. So we don't have like a two election, 8 years. We had a prime minister, Göran Persson. He sat for 16 years straight, which was horrible. That's a different story.
That's a long time.
It's almost like the Supreme Court here. Whenever we take on someone in the Supreme Court, they
sit for life.
Yeah, they sit for life. And now it's everybody's talking about it's a huge hot topic here in the States right now, just because we elected a new judge to the Supreme Court, whether you like her or not.
Talking about Barrett, right?
Yeah. Whether you like her or not, I'm not going to play a side in that discussion, but the hot topic is, should we put, here in the States, of course, should we put term limits on Supreme Court judges here in the States, or should we just let them sit for however long they want to, So
I mean, the fact that she's pretty young, and she lives to the same age that most Supreme Court justices do, she's going to affect the country for the remainder of probably 40, 50 years to come.
Yeah.
So that is a big thing. And if you don't have any hand of it, how do you guarantee that everything's going to be fairly done? How do you get corruption out of it? And because people are just sitting there they don't have to answer to anybody. They can do whatever they want.
Well, the classic argument to that would be, and first of all, that's an amazing point. I agree with you completely. But the classic argument to that would be, you have a certain number of judges. I think there's 9, right? Is that the?
Yeah. They keep an odd number.
Yeah. So they have 9 judges, and as with everything in the 3 branches of government, they try to keep it even. But
that being said, through history, that number has changed. It's been 10 before, it's been 13 before, and they're constantly playing with it.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on. I want to figure out, as citizens of Sweden, how do you guys feel about your government in that case?
Right
I'm
now,
just going to let Johnny take all the political questions, because he is Swedish. I'm just the Swedish wife, but as for me, on the outside looking in, I mean, there's some good things and there's some bad things. So it's not always greener on the other side. Moving to abroad or whatnot. So, you want to?
I think Lucy, I think your interpretation is just as important as someone that has lived in Sweden their whole life, just because it gives more of a it gives the other side of the
a more developed view, because you're going to see a duality in it, as where you grew up in the States and then went out. So your perception is that of an American, which is going to speak more in parallel with that of our primarily U.S. viewership.
For me, it's really hard to come back to the U.S. because I don't struggle here like I struggled in the U.S. Here, you work to live. There, you live to work. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
So,
I believe you did.
Yeah, I mean, people live here. They actually can live, and it's not so stressful as the U.S. I've, if you're sick, you just go to the doctor. It's not a big deal. There's no big insurance and rigmarole you have to go through filling out papers. You just go.
I'm so glad you used that word.
Yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
I'm not stressed involved in doing the basic things in society. What I regard as going to if you're sick, you're sick. If you in school is school. There's you don't have to think about anything of those things. They're just automatic.
Schools as well. You just go. You just sign up and you go. There's just no financial aids and all. It's easy to live.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with the U.S. is fundamental infrastructure on things like healthcare and education. It's all built around the plot of how can I make money off of other people. Basically, that's the bottom line. It's capitalism. It's all these people want to seek out these opportunities for betterment. Well, I want to make my money off of that.
Right.
One of the things that I'm hearing from a lot of my friends here in the U.S. is first of all, it's the misconception between communism and socialism. They refer to Sweden as a socialist country, which it is. It is currently it's a socialist government who is sitting. It's a predominantly a socialist country. It's been socialist 80% since the royal family stepped down from governing. So every election pretty much between 1900 something to 1950 was 100% socialist. Between 1950 and 2000, there was 3 times there was a non-socialist party, right? And after 2000, it's been a lot of it's been the moderates or socialism. Those are the 2 biggest parties. So, but there's a misconception in America about what communism is, because we have that, we were introduced here in the US to, Hoover introduced the communism, scared everybody, and they're like confused. They think socialism and communism is the same thing, and it is not. It is vastly different. And I'm by no means in Sweden. I don't vote socialist in Sweden, so I don't really agree with it. But I'm listening to my friends here in the U.S. that describe socialism, and I'm like, no.
Well, that's I feel like that's definitely a good point. I mean,
there's a huge split in the U.S. on that topic. Like, people are people are afraid of both of those things on either side of it. Like, people are like afraid of communism, or they're afraid of socialism. And
well, I think the biggest
I think Johnny's hitting it home here. Like, a lot of people just don't understand what it really is.
Yeah, I was gonna say the biggest issue is that, and this is, I mean, this is coming from an immigrant, right? This is coming from a person that immigrated to the States. That I was raised in more of a I don't even want to use that term, Eurocentric, because it's seen as a more of a negative vocab word, but more of a European mindset, and obviously a very Russian mindset, because I come from a Russian household. So, a lot of people here, you said it, and Johnny, you said it as well. I mean, I think the biggest issue is that they don't know what those things are fundamentally. They either read a blog title or a news article, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's a very kind of the society. I'm not going to, put everyone in the group, but a lot of people here that, I come by, right, and I talk to, get a lot of their information from these, news outlets and stuff like that. I've never spoken to a person that's literally picked up a book about socialism or about communism, or really went through it and tried to fundamentally understand, first of all, who created these systems, and second of all, how do they properly work? So it's like, until you can tell me how these things work, and even what these things are, what these systems of society are, I don't want to hear it.
That's true. That is true. And the thing is that you hear these people, that my friends mostly here in the US, that talk about this. They're so afraid that I don't want to pay for somebody else, and etc. Right? But at the end of the day, you're still paying for it due to your own insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've compared with my friends. I've sat down and I've pulled up my equivalent of W-2s, that we have here, to my Swedish tax records, line by line, showing them this, because they think I pay 80% taxes in Sweden. No, I don't.
What?
I pay 29% taxes in Sweden.
All right.
So 29% tax, but that includes everything. You don't have to be worried about healthcare. You don't have to be worried about school. You don't have to be worried about universities. And then we'll go, but I don't have any kids. I don't have to pay for your kids' university.
Right. What about in the future?
In the future, it averages out. At the end of the day, you're right now, Corba. I have friends that are furloughed in the industry. They have a $2,500 a month Corba payment.
Mm.
And I'll talk to me again about about taxes.
Right. Yeah.
When that hits you,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. I have friends that are furloughed in Sweden, and they've been furloughed since March, and they get 95% full salary.
Hell yeah.
On furlough.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's all right. That's a silver lining in that's what I'm approaching here, is that they still get paid basically what they would have been making if they were working. I definitely wish they were working. I'm sure that they wish they were working, but that means they're being taken care of, and I like to see that.
Also, an excellent point was just brought up about that stuff. It's like, here in the States, because of because of capitalism and the system that we live in, a lot of people live here for themselves. It's not a very, me again, going back to the fact that I grew up over the pond, as they say, it's like where I'm from, it was a very group mentality, right? Like we help each other.
But you're saying
get
in the
through
States,
things.
it's more like dog eat dog, or
It's a dog
rat
eat dog,
eat rat.
rat eat rat. Yeah, exactly.
What up, McDonald's?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like where I'm going with this is, I mean, exactly what you said. I mean, even about shit, I don't have a kid. Why would I pay for your kid? Even like that mentality right there, like
The individual.
like I don't give a shit about you. Why the fuck would I give a shit about you if I'm doing something completely different? You know what I mean? That's, to me, that seems a little problematic, man, if you don't care about another person that's living in the same area and space as you.
Did you go to university?
No. So I actually, my mom, a little quick deep dive. Not going to focus too much on you because you guys are the center of the discussion here. But I immigrated when I was about with my family when I was about 8 years old, and I immigrated here because my mom won a green card. So
yeah, wild story. They had a lottery for it, and she entered, and supposedly she did it on a joke, like on a whim.
Yeah.
And won.
Yep.
And was like, well, hell, guess I'm going to the States.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. We know people that do that here in Sweden. They want they enter to Sweden is known as Little America. Like people love, here in Sweden love the US. I tried to learn Swedish, but when they find out that I'm from the US, it's really hard for them to talk Swedish with me because they want to speak English.
Yeah.
So it's we just opened Amazon.se here yesterday. So yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of Americans. It's a big American population out here, isn't it, Johnny?
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I myself, this is actually this is cool because it kind of relates it back to the last, 2 episodes ago, I guess now, but we had a girl, her name was Anu. She's from Finland. So neighbors with you guys, or, up there in the, up there in the north with you guys. And, we were talking about all of their different kind of systems that they have in place, and we even got into taxes and stuff like that. But the reason I'm saying this is I was telling her that I go to Sweden every other year because I have a godfather that lives over there in Stockholm. So yeah, Sweden, I can attest to this. The Swedish people definitely love Americans, and like they speak better English sometimes than people out here. It's insane.
It's true. I'm Southern, so I use that slang English.
Yep. I love that. That's Southern twang. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. No, there are times when I'm like thankful to be from the Southeast because like people do kind of like the how you doing kind of thing, the howdy do's. But then there are like other times I'm around people, I feel like I'm an idiot because like they're speaking like proper, and I'm like, oh hell.
Oh, try to be around English people.
I have been around English people, and I'll be honest with you, they're not my favorite brand.
No.
But not nor are they to the Swedes either. So
yeah, they're
fine. They're just so funny, They're just. I won't get into it. I won't get into me and the English moms. So
we could talk about that off record, but yeah, no. I kind of want to. Oh, Nick has a whole lineup of topics here.
I have a brief, mild outline we have an editor, and she pushed this to me because Dima and I do have a habit of getting off topic and stuff like that. So like, I'm trying to police this a little bit here. So I just want to touch on this, see if you guys have any inputs to kind of provide an understanding for us in America. How like civil rights are dealt with in Sweden. I'm looking primarily at like the LGBTQ community, integration as far as like different races and stuff like that. Day to day, like What's it like over there?
I mean, the society, Sweden is big on civil rights. Like LGBT, going into, making sure that not only saying that, oh yeah, everybody has equal rights, but they're actually trying to impose it. They're really, really strict on making sure that you are not being suppressed due to either your sexuality, gender, where you come from, your religion or whatever, color of your skin or anything. Nothing matters at the end of the day. And they're really strict, and they're enforcing it quite harsh in case somebody was to misstep. If you were not to hire because you preferred something different, let's say. And it's being seen in society. It's open. We don't have those extreme groups that are trying to suppress whatever people's rights are, at least not on the surface. Of course, there's going to be somebody, in a hut somewhere, sitting, screaming, yelling, and stuff like that. But
there is racism here. Like, Yoni, you've been gone. I keep up with it more than he does. And I mean, I don't know. I live in a part where I don't see it so much. I live in a part in Sweden, Norra Djurgården. I don't see it so much, but I know it's here. Like, I know it's here. I deal with it. It's here. And there's been videos of police brutality here as well. So it's here.
Mm. Yeah, it seems like it's unfortunately, it's a thing that is almost seems like everywhere,
I would say it's the earliest form of globalization. I would say that because from the days of like early travel, and I'm talking wood hull ships sailing from unknown land to unknown land, you've got people that are just seeing other people for the first time ever, and they are terrified. So they act out upon that. And I feel like they bring that back with them to their homelands, and it festers, becomes like this huge issue, especially in modern day, where that like old faith, that old belief of like, they're different, you must fear them, still exists.
Yeah. It's just like I told Johnny, I said the whole world is on fire right now. There's so much hate, and like it's all over the place. Like it's on fire. It really is on fire.
Well, Lucy, I was going to say, or I was going to ask you actually, do you think that it's a good thing that it's on fire? Because at least it's on fire and there's a platform because we all know, right? What does fire do? Fire kind of, even when we look at nature, right? Or Native Americans control burning different plots of land in order for new trees to grow.
Are you trying to say it's a reset button?
Yeah, it's a reset button.
Absolutely. I agree. It's a reset button, and it needed to happen because it's been going on for too long. Too long. It needed to happen. Absolutely.
Honestly, though, in my opinion, that way of thinking of like,
the hut mentality.
Yeah, the hut mentality.
We'll call it,
if we can call that, Johnny. I think that's actually a pretty cool way, because it's actually it kind of represents in my mind like an echo chamber, capsulization. You're like isolating yourself away from the free thoughts of the world. But
that is true. But we also, look at going back to the fire part. The phoenix is reborn through ashes, right? So you put it down, and then you have rebirth. Same thing. You burn the woodlands, you burn the trees to have new trees. It grows new. So sometimes it is good because it forces people to think differently when things happen. It forces you to come together, etc. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's bad, but it could bring good things as well. Once to solve, to get out of it, to make better.
Really, it's about the post game. It's about that rebirth portion of that entirely, and I think that's like, I think briefly that's a part of what this entire podcast is about right now. Just trying to open up eyes and say, hey, it's all good. Let's just get along.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we were first starting this thing, we were kind of just shooting the shit, and we're still trying to figure out what the name of everything was and stuff like that. And once we figured out the name of the podcast, we were like, how does this make sense? Because we just randomly came up with it. You know, it was something that we randomly came up with one episode. It actually happened on air, which made it even funnier. You know, we were just talking, but you know, and then we kind of really started thinking about it. 4099, 4099. What is that? Okay, so that's a year, right? What does that mean to us? And so we came up with the fact that, like, we're trying to get, the whole point of having this podcast is to bring in different people from different social circles, to give them and to shine a spotlight on them in order for our listeners and our viewers to kind of get new information and be constantly every week
to be heard from a new aspect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exposed to different things, exposed to new cultures and stuff like that. So that's what all of this is, you know, and by doing that, what does it do? It kind of pushes us forward, and it pushes us to 4099, you know?
Yeah. Hopefully humanity makes it to 4099. Honestly, we got a lot of improvements to make, but it sounds like Sweden's kind of on that track, like more so than other countries.
I'm glad I'm here. I can say that.
Like,
yeah.
I would say so far, like, we've only talked to 2 countries so far. We've got about 8 to 10 more that we're probably going to definitely do, and we'd like to expand it past that. But I think so far we've kind of learned that the U.S. is far behind this curve.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely the thing that's a little bit different in the U.S. than anywhere else, and I'm sure a lot of people are aware of it. But you don't really understand until you come here and I realized it for the first time when I got here. I grew up a little bit and started looking at these kind of things. The U.S. has a lot of flaws. It has a lot of flaws, but it has a lot of great things. And one of those great things is this is the only place in the world that has so many different people from different countries, from different cultures, from different parts. It has every, you know, people from all over the world. And that's why a lot of these huge, first of all, that's why a lot of time takes place in order for change to happen. That's the first thing. And second of all, you know, when change does happen, it's huge. You know, it's a very huge thing, you know, so it's hard to kind of steer a country as big as the U.S. with as many different people in a very straight path, you know. So it's like that's something that I've definitely began realizing after a couple of years of being here, and even more so now with these great movements coming up and that really empower minorities and different cultures and stuff like that. So it's great. I think obviously there are a lot of negatives, but I mean, making it full circle here, like we said, I mean, there has to be a little bit of fire burning for change to happen, you know, for new trees and new life to grow, you know. So we're getting there.
Something there which is very interesting. Going back to what I said earlier, somebody might take what I said as a criticism. However, when I came to the U.S., I've met Americans that are the most gentle people I've ever met. You know, Americans are amazing. They are so kind, and they will bring you in. They will make friends. They'll like, you don't have to know somebody more than 2 hours, and they'll invite you to your house. You know.
Mm.
Well, that will not happen in Sweden as easily. You can know somebody for 10 years and never even been to their house.
Oh, wow.
Introverts, extroverts. But that's the thing, you know, you go to work, you have your friends at school. You build your friendship when you're young, and you maintain your friendship in Sweden. When you go to work, that's what it is. It's work, and then you go home. And a lot of Swedish are introverts. They don't let new people in their life very easily.
That's true. I've been here how long? How long have I lived here? And probably made Swedish friends, probably maybe three or four. But I have like, you know, people from all over the place, US and the Baltic and whatnot, that much more friendlier, you know, and opening, but Sweden's not so much.
Do you think that that kind of mentality and that kind of, I guess I don't know what to call it really, acceptance or friendship making or something like that, do you think that has to do with geographically where Sweden is, and the history geographically of where Sweden has been, and really just Swedes kind of relying on themselves to get through certain situations historically? Or, I mean, why is that the case, you think?
Because it's cold and dark up here, and then and I mean, it got dark today at 3:00. So, you know, everybody just wants to go to Systems Bloggett and get their booze and go home. And that's it. You know, they don't want to socialize. It's cold outside. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to go home. But that's the time when I need you the most. You know, this is when I need people. And I want to socialize. It's because of that darkness. And it's because, you know, I'm lonely here. Like I want to be out in society and talk, because it's such a dark place in the winter.
Tell you what, let me become independently like wealthy. I'm coming to Sweden. I'm going to make everybody be my friend, whether they like it or not.
Good luck with that. I thought I could do that. Didn't happen.
I'm going to build a big old social castle. That's what I'm going to do. And everyone's welcome.
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you what, man. Again, you know,
I'll devise some sort of incentive and reward program for showing up and being my friend, which makes it kind of like not very genuine, I feel like, but it'd be a really cool like social experiment.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I saw when I came to the US for the first time. Is that like I met people, I'd known them for just a few days, and all of a sudden we're hanging out together, we're grilling together, we're doing stuff, and
I love grilling.
Yeah, I know. But one of my friends, this is almost 10 years ago, Lucy, you remember Brendan, like he spent 2 days fixing my car. He didn't ask for anything, you know. He just came over and took it apart, changed alternators, batteries, brakes, everything for free. And like just didn't ask for it. He knew that I needed help, and he helped me. Like it was the thing to do. And this is amazing. I've never seen such thing pretty much anywhere else I've been, right? So this is kudos to the American society. This is a good thing. But I don't understand why we can't extend that and go into taking to the discussion that we had earlier. Is like, well, why should I pay for you? You know, use the same morality, use the same thought process that you're doing with your friends to expand it further. You know, think of everybody as part of the society. Everybody's contributing, everybody brings in, everybody will be happy, and it will be like a big block party, you know?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of expand on that a little bit more. I would like to hear from both of you. You can get as deep as you want or as vague as you'd like to be about it, but what are your open opinions about the U.S.? And we've kind of like dabbled in it, but I want to know, like, individually, when you think about America, what are the first things that come to mind, and what are like the big cools and the big not cools, like the pros and cons?
I mean, America is a vast country, okay? So you can take Europe, and the size of Europe and the size of America is the same thing. So obviously you're gonna have different regions, and that is what I like about it here. I mean, you got the beaches, you got the mountains, you have the lakes, you have the deserts, you have everything. You have different, and each area has its own culture, right? You can compare, you can take Boston and compare it to Louisiana. I mean, yeah, you have the brick buildings versus you have the sheds, and one of the best places. I mean, I remember being down in Monroe and being at a crayfish party. And that was amazing. You have people playing live music in a tent, you know?
Yeah.
I loved it. And then I go up to Boston, you have clam chowder, and that's also amazing. Or you go up in the mountains in Montana, and you just go out in the lake and fishing, or just seeing the beautiful mountain. I mean, it's awesome. And then you have like the culture of the people, how everybody interacts differently, and that's what I find great about this country. And the part is that it struggles to you struggle to accept each other. Like everybody is like I don't know how to explain it. It's division. Why do you have it so good? Why do you still have this division? Why did you just join up and?
It's been too long. Like it's divided. Like Nick, like, I mean, we're family. Uncle John, I mean, it's everywhere I go, I meet a different group of friends, and I like it like that. I like the diversity. I like and I love that in the U.S. as well. But sometimes I feel like if I go outside that circle, it's a judgment. Like it's been too many cases where I've been outside my circle, maybe by myself, or I don't even know if I want to go on that subject, but oh, hey, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're all inclusive.
But what was I talking about? I lost my train of thought.
Talking about leaving a certain social circle and how it's viewed, like judged.
Yeah. Oh, yes. When back in high school, for instance, I hung around. I hung around mostly white people, as you know, but I didn't feel accepted by most of the Black people at high school, and I used to get picked on a lot, and it was that was hard for me. And in the U.S., I just think they don't understand. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone. I don't know where I'm going with that. I leave it alone. I'm sorry.
Well, there's something to be said with that, though. I think I know what you're putting down, and it's something to be said about manipulation and ego.
Pretty much, yeah. I would say so. I think Americans do have this big ego.
We got some big heads.
Yes. You have it as well, your name.
Yeah, I mean, if I could add anything to it, I mean, I know a lot of the I know a big reason for a lot of these, especially like if we're getting into, racial divisions specifically, it's like something that has been imprinted on the American society since pretty much the establishment of it, and because of the way the system was made when this country was first established. I mean, that stuff is really, really hard to let go of. And that shit still exists even now, when we have certain interactions with, whether it be different races or different cultures, and it kind of goes back, to make it a little bit more of a full circle. It kind of goes back to what you were getting into with, even like, back when we were sailing in ships, right? And we were coming from our country and going to a new land, right? It was that mentality of, holy shit, I'm scared. And what do we have as a natural human reaction when we're scared? We get defensive. And when we get defensive, we start naturally trying to have leverage in that confrontation. And when we have leverage or try to build leverage in a confrontation, we build ourselves, and we think in our heads that we're higher than this person, or we mean more than this, but we're more correct. Our ideology is more right than anything that this person has to offer me. And that's our sense of uncomfort, and that's our natural defensive reaction as human beings. So it almost supersedes or kind of goes above I think, a racial thing, and it starts getting into more of a human thing of like you are not me, so you are less than me, you know. And it's obviously, you know, it does have a lot to do with race in this country specifically, because that's just the way,
honestly, it's
Americans have been programmed, you know, since the establishment of the U.S., right? I mean,
program's a weird term. I would say it's the way you're raised.
Or raised, yeah. Well, programmed, really. I mean, what are we? Little baby planets, right? That exist, little baby worlds that are, you know, being created, right? Are well, that's what we are. We're little planets. We're little worlds. We're little universes that constantly are soaking in information, and a lot of the information that we soak in is from the people that have raised us, you know. And we're a lot of these people that are feeding us this information, our mom, dad, cousin, brother, whatever, they're creating our universe. They're creating our perception of our reality. They're creating our surroundings and how we look at our surroundings. And if we have a very nourishing environment, and we come from a family that drills it in our little planet's mind, right? Our big head's mind, right? Talking about big heads, that no, it's not all about you. It's not all about, you know, you getting this and having to climb up on this person's back to get what you want. It's more about you treating that person with kindness just as you want to be treated. Then your whole world starts to transform, evolve, and change. And you start looking at the people around you not as people or even things to manipulate to get what you want, but actually to work with these people that surround you and to treat them like a part of your family. And I feel like if we start really thinking about that a little bit more, we can be more inclusive and more accepting of different people and of different cultures.
Dima's about to write a book.
It's so interesting because first of all, no kid is ever born a racist or a sexist or whatever. You know, kids don't see color, they don't see gender, they don't see attributes of any kind. They like you, they play with you, they do this, they do that, right? And then we have direct and indirect factors that will change the kid's perception of things. So let's say you can have a parent or an uncle or a relative can say, oh, you can't play with this kid because he's black or he's white or he's Chinese, or it's a girl, you should only play with boys, and when it's a girl, you can't play with, you have to play with dolls. But then you have the indirect things that can happen. Let's say society happens without people realizing it. Let's say you have two different areas. You have two different schools. One school where you have a little bit wealthier families and one school with a little bit poorer families. And let's say that the poorer families predominantly of a certain background versus another background, the kids that go in the wealthier family are going to, by default, are going to look down on the kids that go in the poorer. They're going to think they're less values, even though they're not. But those are the indirect things that make certain kids change their view standpoints towards other communities or persons of different colors or backgrounds or religions or genders or whatever, right? And it all comes down to just don't try to influence your kids. Let them grow up and let people just be, you know, who they are and be good, and we wouldn't have this.
Amen. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I mean, Lucy, I kind of want to get your perspective on that as well.
I feel like I'm on the spot. I'm not good at talking on these.
That's all right.
Sometimes things come and then like I'll say it, but go ahead. I'm here.
Well, Nick, I know. What were you talking about? What did we have any more points that we wanted to touch? Or
we pretty much kind of knocked it out. I mean, we cover the government, kind of compare that to the US.
Let's recap here. Let's recap for the folks listening and viewing. So recap for us, Nick.
Oh, as we did.
Yeah.
Compared the government systems. They're actually not too far unaligned. We went ahead and where the hell's the outline? Because This beer was heavy. 11% before chest day. I don't know that was a smart idea. Oh, I'm gonna die at the gym tonight or this afternoon. Oh, yeah. Then we kind of like went over like civil rights. That was a big part of this. Kind of just. I mean, what we got into with civil rights is that you see racism and like aggressions towards like people of like different genders and sexual attractions. You see aggressions towards them across the board. Doesn't matter where you're at. That's a thing. And I will say that other places are worse than some others. But by and large, I feel like Sweden does a solid attempt at trying to like go ahead and just nipping that in the bud. I don't know. That was my take. Then we kind of touched on the tax subject a little bit. So like the U.S., you get taxed like out of the wazoo, and we didn't really say this on this episode, but we talked about this with Finland. In America, when you get taxed, you don't know where that money goes. You don't know where it goes. You know where it's supposed to go, but you may or may not see it hitting the streets or what have you.
Now, isn't it? Didn't they just have, what is it, 9 billion? Is it they spent on weapons or whatnot?
Yeah, like we've got like,
wow, and people need to eat at this moment in time.
Right. Yeah. Like we'll spend, however many millions or billions of dollars going into our war budgets or our military defense budgets, but you want to pass a second pandemic relief bill. Well, we're going to talk about that for another 6 months.
Yeah. Let's just talk about it. But it went by pretty fast. That bill with it's interesting how that.
It's pretty slick how that's a no-brainer. But then like taking care of the people is kind of like a back burner object, like a back burner itinerary item.
Yeah.
Take America's military budget, cut it by not even 5%, and you can cover healthcare, or you can cover universities for every single citizen.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I mean,
people have an issue, like I told you earlier, my friends would say, oh, I don't want to pay for you and this and that, right? Let's say that you wouldn't be paying the same amount of tax that you still pay, just give a little bit less to the military that has they take the most money out of the budget for anything. Just give it to healthcare. And it wouldn't be paying anymore. It was paying the same thing. And I'm not saying to cut the military budget by 100% or get rid of it altogether. I get it. America has a vast military, but it's so much money. And realizing how much it costs, like how much do you think a Tomahawk costs? And you don't send one. You don't. When you use it, you don't send one. You send hundreds. So you blow up a year. You can, just by not sending a Tomahawk, you can send all the kids to school.
Yeah.
I mean, to that end, I would say that like our military, you're right. It's a very vast, and I would say like across the board, almost superior military force. I think it could stand to let go of 5%, 10%, and still maintain.
The thing that I don't know if Americans realize this, but the budget spent on the military, like complete budget, it's more than every single country in the world combined. Not bigger than any other country. You take all the other countries combined, and it's still bigger than all other countries combined.
That sounds very American thing to do.
I'm trying to like really soak that in and realize how like I was a part of the military and like I was making less than $30,000 a year. Like what was I doing wrong?
No, but I get it. If you want to have the biggest budget, that's fine. Be bigger than Russia, be bigger than China, be bigger than India or whatever country you feel is your enemy. Make sure that you are superior to whoever you perceive that you need to be superior to. I get it. But do you need to be bigger than the rest of the world combined?
Yeah.
So you can do a little bit less. Just take one country. So you take that. You can be like you take the whole world and take one country out of there. Say, oh, I don't feel like Slovakia is an enemy to me, so I'm going to take the budget for Slovakia out of there and put it into healthcare. Oh, Turkey is a NATO. It's my ally. Okay, I'll take Turkey out of there, which is a big country, by the way. Now you can feed every person in America. So you don't need to be that big. That's the thing. You don't need to be that big.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
It's a good point. He's right. Like, I can't really say it any other way. He's right. You're right. Oh man, I'm beside myself just imagining in my head what any politician would have to say to that.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have a lot to say, and
they'd be like, well, first thing, let me just point your attention to figure A over here. You see this, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a senator on the show or a politician at some point, and maybe set up an interview with them and grill them about budgets and stuff like that.
You guys should talk to Richard Burr and ask him about that insider trading. I'd really like to hear about that.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm totally interested in how that worked out.
Somebody's got to clean this mess up. All right. But yeah, so I think we ran through the agenda. I appreciate this. You guys have been awesome.
Thank you. So have you.
Yeah, you have too. It's so nice that you all grown up. I'm sorry. I know this is not probably good for your podcast, but I knew Nick when he was like 5 years old. Oh my God. He was such a baby. He was like, oh my God, Lucy, what are you doing right now? But yes, he was an itty bitty baby. When I knew him.
And now he's a big baby.
You remember that time?
Amazing.
You remember the time you were over and I refused to go to sleep?
Oh God, yes. That'll never forget. Lucy, I need to tell you something. And I'm gonna say, okay. And he did this like 5 times. Oh, I just want to tell you, love you, Lucy. I'm like, okay, love you too, Nick.
Yeah, like 5 times. I'm just trying to think like, what's the first thing I come up with to keep me out of going to bed?
Yeah, he would stall every night. It was the same routine.
Just trying to hang out,
It was great. It's great to see you doing so well, though. So.
I'm trying, trying to try over here in this dog eat dog world.
Yeah, I feel you. Everybody trying to survive. So yeah. So the government to get up off that chump change, though.
Off the Trump change?
Yeah, people in need. Shoot. Come on now. Let's work for the people.
That's me.
All right. Well, I'm going to go feed my babies. Thank you for having me. And
before you go, there's one more thing. So we take pictures.
Oh, okay. How so?
See if you can set it up to where we get them side by side and get you and me out of the picture. We don't belong. So we have a guest wall that we put Polaroids on.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we got one more shot in the can here. So I'd like to go and get that. Actually, you've got the better hand for this because I goofed it up last time.
Nah, you're all right. You're good.
Are you just gonna smile, Johnny, or can we do something goofy, or what?
Oh, do whatever you want. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, we're good. Wait. No. Wait.
Hold on. You guys should high five. Try to like.
Oh, like this?
Yeah, like meet up in the camera with it, like with you.
Camera.
Johnny, go the other way. Johnny, go the other way.
Yes, perfect.
All right, Lucy, a little more. I love
Got
it. I'll send you guys a picture of that when it develops.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It was very nice meeting both of you. We have truly It was an honor and a pleasure to have you guys here on the 4099 podcast. This has been another episode with your hosts, Dima and
Nick.
And we're signing off. Please tune in. Please subscribe. Please like. Please comment. Get active. If you guys want to say anything, I'm talking to the viewers and listeners at this point. If you guys want to say anything, throw a comment in there. If you have any questions, throw a comment in there. If you feel a certain way, throw a comment in there. And yeah, this has been another great episode. Thank you guys again, and we're signing off.
Night, guys.
Super.